Good evening and welcome to Vergennes Union High School. We have student speakers who will give a better welcome than I, but I do want to make sure that we welcome all of the members of the Addison, Ferrisburg, Panton, Vergennes, and Waltham communities. We welcome the Addison Northwest Supervisory Union School Board members, Superintendent of the Year, Tom O'Brien, my co-principal and Vermont Principal of the Year, Ed Webley, parents who deserve a great hand for what you've brought to this dais today, grandparents, and dare I say, are there any great-grandparents who are here today? All right, it's good to see you. We'll wait until your great-great-parents and back again. To friends, and of course, to those kids whom I remember as the 8th graders who were here the year I arrived and who look no different, and sometimes, well, the class of 2011. I'd like to introduce, for the welcoming address, Isabel Langrock, who is the salutatorian of the class of 2011.
Thank you. Welcome. It feels so good to be up here and to say that. For 12 years, it feels like, my classmates and I have been waiting for this. 12 years of homework, friends, tears, math, laughter, writing, sports games, music, nicknames, and Harry Potter. Since Book 1 was published in 1998, the same year the majority of us entered first grade, to this year, today when we graduate from high school, and in a month when the final film installment enters theaters, Harry Potter has consumed many a conversation and helped make us who we are. This summer's two big events, our graduation and the midnight premiere of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, are almost the same in my mind. I have anticipated both these past few months with a fervor that has made my articulation much more like a 2-year-old's than a high school graduate's on her way to college. At times, my excitement could hardly be contained by walls, and at others, I shed more than a few bittersweet tears. For after today, there will be no more striding down these halls towards musical practices, friends, or, perhaps saddest of all, science club meetings. And after July 15th, the story will be complete. No more books, no more movies, or so J.K. Rowling has sworn. We will have to content ourselves with memories, rereading and rewatching as we make new memories in new places with new people and read new books. I welcome you to the class of 2011's graduation by speaking of Harry Potter instead of some great literary masterpiece. I could have talked about Hamlet, because this series about a boy finding himself with the help of some wonderful teachers, incredible friends, and very loving parents mimics our own high school experience. We may not go to school in a castle or learn about the dark arts, but we learned what mattered to us and how to fight for it, even when things are grim. Although generally what we fought against was never as scary as he who must not be named. I speak to you about a book, maybe because I can write about them endlessly, but mostly because a book can be passed through time and never fade. Those words will always be on that page, so even as our memories fade and are replaced with brighter ones, we can reread about Harry's acceptance to Hogwarts and think again of the first day of first grade at a new school and curiously peering around my mother's skirts at the girl who not only shared my name, but was also a twin. Maybe in a few years, we will re-watch the last movie and saying goodbye to Harry, Ron, and Hermione as the credits roll. We will remember this day when we said goodbye to our own friends who had so many of the characteristics of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Today is a time for celebration of the past, remembering everything that occurred within these walls, celebrating the good and forgiving the bad. But today is also when we turn toward the future and put the past behind us, Harry Potter and all. That is not to say that we will forget about high school or stop caring about Harry Potter. I, for one, know Harry will follow me through college. In fact, we will always remember the 12 years, especially these last 4, that we spent in each other's company. And we will always remember the story of the boy who lived. But after today and July 15th, we will relegate them to memories in order to make room for new experiences. High school and Harry Potter have shaped us into the individuals you see before you. But it is now time to test the strength of that individuality against the world. I can't resist. Shakespeare wrote, "We know what we are, but we know not what we may be." Today, I welcome you to the class of 2011's graduation and our first steps towards learning who we may be. Thank you.
And now for the valedictory address by the class of 2011 valedictorian, Hannah Sturdivant.
Good evening, everyone. And as Izzy has already said, welcome. When I found out that I would be the one speaking tonight, I didn't know where to start. I asked for a lot of advice while attempting to write this speech. Several people even offered to write it for me, and I was tempted to let them because honestly, I just wanted someone else to be up here. However, while seeking ideas, someone told me to just be myself. Now, I actually remember this advice only because I immediately discounted it. No one wants to listen to me get up here and talk about myself, was my initial response. And yet, after sitting in front of my computer, trying to write the speech that everyone else wanted me to write, the speech that everyone else wanted to hear, I realized that being myself was really my only option in the end. I can try, but ultimately, I can't be anyone but myself. After all, I have tried to be someone else. It's so easy to slip into that mindset, to try to shape yourself into what someone else wants you to look like, act like, talk like, whether that someone's a person, a parent, a pastor, a peer, or an institution, a school, a church, a sports team. It's so easy to let others define you. I have. At times, I have allowed others to tell me who to be or what to be. I have tried to be what others tell me to be, their ideal student or ideal daughter, their image of an American teenage girl or an athlete. I've accepted labels which society pushed me to wear. I have given in to the pressures of society. I have allowed them to define me, label me, and restrict my true identity. Every one of us is surrounded by such pressures, pressures to conform to social norms, institutional structures, the ideas of others. For girls, it is too often the unrealistic cultural ideal of beauty, stick thin and yet somehow quite shapely. How many of us girls have looked in the mirror and been unhappy with ourselves because we don't look like the models in the magazines? And how many of you boys have been afraid to say what you wanted to or wear what you wanted to because someone would have labeled you? Sometimes, most of the time perhaps, these labels, these pressures, are unintentional. People, especially the people close to you, your peers, your parents, the ones who have the most influence, probably do not mean to limit you or silence your true self. That effect is accidental, just as it is all too easy to let others define you. It is also all too easy to define others unintentionally. I'm sure that I have accidentally pressured someone to conform to my labels or simply to social norms, and I have experienced this pressure. We just don't have enough awareness of our impact on others. This class, this audience, and this society as a whole must work harder to recognize and avoid such unnecessary pressure, whether it's intentional or not. It's not enough to resist pressures put upon us. We must also resist putting such pressures upon others. Oddly enough, when I was first trying to write this speech, before I knew what I would talk about, I happened to find a quote that fits in here. Harvey Fierstein once said, "Never be bullied into silence. Never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life. Define yourself." After I found this quote, I went and Googled Harvey Fierstein, because I always like to know who I'm quoting. And I was surprised by the number of images of a woman that popped up. As it turns out, Harvey Fierstein has not only been a female impersonator, but also an actor, a playwright, a Tony Award winner, and the list goes on, as well as being one of the first openly gay men in Hollywood. Apparently, Fierstein really lives by his philosophy. I bet he lost count of the number of times someone labeled him. What would such a number mean, anyway? It would simply gauge how much society tried to change him, the ways everyone else tried to erase his true self and replace it with something socially acceptable. I guess that my message, my advice to our class, and to everyone here, on stage or off, is exactly the advice I was given for this speech. Be yourself. You've probably heard this message before, but it's no less true now than it was then. Be yourself, no matter what pressures will be presented, because pressures will be presented. Our identities will all be criticized. We've already faced such disapproval in high school, I'm sure. Wherever we're going next, whether college, the military, the workplace, or anywhere else, it will not be any different. We will all face pressure to conform to a certain image or to hide parts of our identity from others. But hopefully, we will stay true to ourselves, whether that self is dressed in drag, or Carhartts, or anything in between. Thank you.
that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If
There is a load
there's a
that you'll
load
have to bear, that you won't carry.
right up the road,
I'll share your load.
if you just call me, 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 it won't be long till I'm done hurting. Somebody to lean on, lean on, lean on me. Lean on me. Lean on, lean on me. Lean on, lean on me. Somebody to lean on. Somebody to lean on.
Sunday shoes, cap and gown, the whole town gathered round. Waited 18 years, now it's all coming down to this. I scan the crowd, it fills my soul. All my best friends here in rows. No turning back, now it's time to walk that line. This tassel is gonna turn when the moment passes by. We'll just walk away and slowly grow apart. But I'm not gonna cry, no, no. No one said a happy tear. I've waited my whole life. Oh, now I'm gonna fly right out of here. It's a bittersweet goodbye, so I'm not gonna cry. Friday night football games, first loves and first heartbreaks. It didn't matter who won or lost, only how we played. Memories as good as gold, tearing up those mountain roads. Racing now 53 to old Georgetown. Sure, we made a little trouble, but learned from every mistake, so there's no regret. We've done the best we could, so I'm not gonna cry. No, no, no one said a happy tear. These have been the best years of my life, so I'm not gonna cry. It's been a long and winding journey, and we've lost a few along the way. Still we've hung in there through the tribulations. Now it's time to celebrate. It's our graduation day, so I'm not gonna cry. No, no, not one sad or happy tear. I've waited my whole life. Oh, now I'm gonna fly right out of here. This has been the best day of my life, so I'm not gonna cry. It's a bittersweet goodbye, so I'm not gonna cry.
Hi, class of 2011. Thank you for this huge honor. Got a speech right here. 77 years ago, whoops, sorry, wrong speech. I'd blame Nathan North for pulling a prank and putting this in my jacket, but he hasn't needed the words to that since he was in 7th grade. Let's see, here it is, sorry about that. This summer, put on new roof, build screened-in porch, paint all exterior. Sorry. This is titled To-Do List. Sounds more like the ramblings of a delusional dreamer to me. Hey, while I have this out, I just want to make a couple notes. Watch Red Sox every night. Eat a lot of chips. That's called multitasking. Wait a minute, here it is. All right. Good evening, Superintendent O'Brien, Curriculum Coordinator Dr. Spencer, District Office staff, co-principals Webley and Reynolds, school board members, faculty and staff, alumni, and family and friends. I have heard that read about, I think, 20 times in my career here as a teacher and a few other places. And have you ever noticed how these formal greetings always end with family and friends? Now, this is because family and friends don't mind being put at the end of a list of dignitaries. In fact, speaking of family, before I go any further into the speech, it would be wonderful if everyone remains silent while the class of 2011 rises and joins me in a round of applause for their parents and guardians, because they have done an exceptional job raising this fantastic group of kids. Thank you, guys, girls. I have family here tonight as well. My wife Cynthia is here with me, and the two oldest are out there lurking in the back somewhere. They get some business to take care of later, so they're probably in the doorway. And the other two texted me and wished me good luck. You know, I asked my wife Cynthia about her thoughts on family and friends being mentioned at the end of the list of dignitaries, and she reminded me that you can recognize your family and friends by their unconditional love. And anyway, Cindy and I co-manage our wonderful blended family, which, by the way, did not come with an instruction manual. They range in age from 12 to 22, so I'm right there with you, parents. I know how it feels to be here tonight. Cindy and I do have a framed embroidery hanging on the wall of our home that was made long ago by her mother, and she recently gave it to us, and it states quite simply, "To love and be loved is the greatest joy on earth." That is our instruction manual, and that is the philosophy that we use to make our family succeed. So what words of wisdom could I possibly bestow upon this graduating class? Well, because friends are kind enough to not mind being mentioned last in a formal greeting, I think I will concentrate on friends as a topic. In fact, I will honor my friends, by sharing with you, the class of 2011, things my friends have taught me. Now, normally it might be a little weird for a guy to stand up here and talk to a bunch of kids about his friends, except that my friends are your teachers, and you know them all. By the way, advice is a funny thing, isn't it? It's like no one gives you advice. It kind of assumes that you need advice. So here I am. I'm going to give you some advice. Because that's obviously advice is for when times, I guess, go a little bad because, I don't know, can you imagine, like, say, Asa Hunt walking across the field on a beautiful day, runs into Clayton and says, "I just got a summer job, I got accepted to college, my girlfriend loves me, what should I do?" So some of this advice is for, some of the leaner times. I have a friend that works here with an incredibly high level of energy, and I give him the High Level of Energy Award, quite frankly, if there was one, Mr. Chris Wyckoff. Chris and I have played music together. He helped me find work as a summer painter many times, helped me earn some money for my family. You know, Mr. Happy Times, Chris Wyckoff. Also, I remember when Chris and I were in bands together, before he was a teacher, he would always say, "Come on, Spenny, let's play till 2 in the morning." And I'm like, "Chris, I have to teach classes in the morning." And then, as the band went on, he decided to become a teacher, and I watched that happen, and I said, "You'll see, pal. Guess what? Wyckoff still has more energy than Spencer." I also have a friend who has a great ability for introspective thought, and that is Leah Hammond, my colleague in the art department. Now, Leah is, well, let's see, she was probably born when I was about 30. So, and she, to take advice from someone, well, that would be like you guys later on when you get a job and you're 50, someone in the audience who's going to have a kid that isn't born yet would work with you and give you advice, if you can imagine that. And, but Leah has always taught me that we are responsible for our own stuff, is the word I'll be using tonight. And that we can try to blame other people for all of our problems, and it's really easy to do, but she has always turned me into thinking that really it's our problem. We're the ones, the way that we react as humans to what we're given is really what builds character and makes you who you are. And I didn't really like learning that from someone who was 30 years younger than me, but it's fine. I can handle it. And also, Leah says, this is her advice to you, never give up on the simple beauty of all your surroundings. Honest, she actually said that. I have another friend who I'm going to give the award of great intellectual generosity. Made that up today. And that's Mr. Carl Steen. Let me tell you a little story about Carl. Occasionally, you guys might run into a friend or have a friend that you wish would evolve a little more, or maybe they trouble you or embarrass you, and you may even become angry with them because they just won't grow up. I was complaining about such a person to Carl once, and he could see I was upset and that I really wanted to come to terms with this person and keep them as a friend. And Carl suggested that I enact, and he comes up with stuff like this all the time, so don't be surprised, the Hindu principle of Katman. In a nutshell, the act of hiding your own enlightenment for the purpose of helping others become enlightened. And I thought of this conversation the other day. I was reading a magazine and I came across a quote by the Reverend Jesse Jackson who said, "Never look down on someone unless you're helping them up." And I thought that was fantastic. And I've also realized that these concepts very much describe the Carl Steen I know. Of course, Carl can be, like the rest of us, cynical, irreverent, or even occasionally judgmental. But at the core of Steen, There is no desire to wish others ill will, no desire to climb on the backs of others to better his own situation. Carl lives a life dedicated to helping others become more enlightened. And I thank him for that, and it's good advice. And I'll just talk about one more person, because I'm friends with almost every teacher in this school, and I could go on and on. It's filled with wonderful colleagues to be with every day, as well as students. But my longest friend that I've known since I've worked here is Matt Schlein, who runs the Walden program and invented the Walden program. And I've been friends with Matt for many years. We raised children at the same time. We taught here together. Because, you know, before the days of Steen and Wyckoff and Mr. Tim and Mr. Thomas, Matt Schlein roamed these halls. And he taught English and directed on stage, and for fun, facilitated a philosophy and world religion discussion group for students that found lunchtime too boring. So I attended one or two. Was out of my league, quite frankly. If one is fortunate enough, Matt has a huge community of friends and acquaintances, and if one is fortunate enough to attend a dinner party at the Schleins, they are sure to meet poets, actors, musicians, scholars, naturalists, world wanderers, and other assorted characters. Matt helps others connect, and these connections have created organizations, lasting friendships, marriages, events, and performances. Luckily for me, Matt and I have our own friendship free and clear of his little Algonquin round table. We just meet on random days and walk around in the woods or meadow, and Saturdays in the fall, he's made me commit to watching every Michigan football game at my house, because Matt doesn't have commercial television. But Matt is really good, and I guess if there's any advice, kids, it's in here. Matt is really good at patiently listening to me when I have lost my way. He always makes me feel better about myself and the potential for things to get better. Of all the advice I've ever received from Matt, my family, and all my friends, the words of Matt's that repeat in my ears the most often and have become my own mantra, really, is that basically life moves in cycles. For every extreme low that you'll ever feel, there's going to be an extreme high. And there's really no way around that. The waves just keep going up and down. And it's always in our best interest to ride out the lows and be secure in the knowledge that the highs will return. I have told myself that a lot. It's common sense, I should have known it, but it's Matt repeating it to me that helped me, which is why friends are so important. In fact, try to enjoy, or at least respect the lows existence as well as the highs. So now you've heard a little about my friends and all the wonderful advice they've given me. And I will remind you once again, my friends and I may not live by these principles every moment, but we aspire to do so. So I hope you, the students that make up the class of 2011, set standards for living. And of course, I wish you all success in school, employment, the armed services, or the Peace Corps. And that list of dignitaries mentioned earlier, believe me, they wish you this as well. And you can be sure that your family loves you and wishes you success in all things in life. We are all very proud to have worked with you and help you shape your existence. But I know what comes next. Blast off. You are all anxious to get off that stage, put your spinning wheels to the ground, and head first into life. So my final and most heartfelt wish is this. May each of you work hard at keeping the friends you have. May each of you make quality friends in the future. And may each of you bring the best to your own circle of friends. Thank you and best wishes to the class of 2011.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer, for delivering us your words of wisdom. And on behalf of the class of 2011, I'd like to present you with this clock. It has your name on it.
Really? My name is Boulevard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Could the first 10 students receiving their diplomas please come up? Kyle Jacob Adams. Gregory James Alexopoulos. Alan M. Amory. Victoria Susan Anguish. Shauna Arthurs. Arlene M. Atkins. Ryan D. Bennett Putnam. Michaela Beck Bicknell. Jamie Lee Blanchard. Brooke Ellen Bugor. Dustin John Bradford. Dylan Tyler Bresnick. Nicole Lee Brown. Ashley Elizabeth Brunette. John H. Burke. Abigail Beth Campano. Zachary Taylor Castillo. Clayton Robert Childers. Anne Elizabeth Clancy. Jarrett Kirby Clark. Morgan Ashley Coria. Corey Michael Cousineau. Jennifer S. Cunningham. Caitlin E. Kusan. Laura Wilma Dom. Aaron Robert Desibray. Cassandra Lee Devono. Dana Christian Entrott. Jacob Edward Furlick. Alexander Gendro. Thomas R. Gould. Jeremy Robert Greenhouse. Lillian Doyle and Isabel Kiernan Hamilton. Alexa Marie Higby. Brandon Hoos. Kelsey T. Howard. Asa Freeman Hunt. Reese W. Jaring. Margaret Spencer Johnston. Richard Karsmarzik. Shara Marie Kaufman. Benjamin T. Kelly. Alyssa Lynn Kilburn. Greta L. Cron. William A. Coons III. Isabel C. Langrock. Jessica Marie Laughlin. Andrew L. Lucia. Skylar E. Magoon. Samantha J. Marzalkowski. Erica Deagle Martin. Peter E. H. McDurphy. Kendall Newkirk. Raymond Edward Nill. Haley Marie Nolan. Nathan T. North. Emily Pelsu. Jonathan E. Philbrick. Casey J. Paquette. Lisa Marie Porter. Allison Ann Provost. Brian A. Richer. Sierra Lynn Roberts. Alex Henry Russett. Andrew Stephen Russett. Tyler Jason Sawyer. Hayden A. Senesac. Corey Robert Shalleck. Shelby Lynn Sheehan. Monique Ashton Simpson. Anna Jo Smith. Rachel Jean Smith. Ari J. Smits. Jasmine Spear. Mavis L. Stansberry. Daniela Margarita Stapleford. Timothy Warren Stearns. Morgan Dale Stinchfield. Hannah Lee Sturdivant. Adam Jeffrey Terry. Caitlin B. VU. Kelsey Elizabeth Wildison.
Hannah Catherine DeGraff. We are now going to hear the challenge to the class of 2012 as addressed by Nathan North, Third Honors.
The primary focus of any living organism is survival. For a plant, this matter is fairly simple. They do not have a choice of how to survive, where to survive, or what to survive with. They cannot have their choice of food, nor can they have a choice in when they get their food. If the sun shines, they eat. If it rains, they drink. Nature dictates their future. This is because they are one of the simplest of organisms. An animal has a few more options. While its purpose is still to survive, it can eat anytime it finds food. It can drink anytime it finds water. And if a predator approaches, it can run away. However, an animal has only basic knowledge. It has instincts to guide it. It has only limited thought process. This is what makes the most complex life form, the human, different. The human has very few instincts compared to that of any other animal. To survive, it must learn, then combine the stimulus with reason. In other words, we must think. But what further sets the human apart is its ability to not think. A human is the only organism that is able to not try to survive. Both plants and animals will survive until their life is taken from them. They cannot give it up. This means that instead of our instincts automatically commanding our bodies to survive, we have to consciously make those decisions. Although today, it is possible to survive in the physical sense, relying primarily on unconscious thought, to rely on a spur-of-the-moment desire. Because of this, we now have a hierarchy that is formed within our society. Those who find their own thoughts unique and useful and act on them rise to the top. Those who fail to make that effort sink to the bottom. As I've watched throughout my life, I've seen both types of people. Those who believe that the only way they will ever be rich is if they win the lottery, an achievement void of reason, and those who instead find comfort in the knowledge that they are in control of their own future, a future focused on the decisions that they make and carry out. Having known the entire senior class for the past 6 years, I've recognized that they can see this. They're not the type of people who rely on luck. They don't have to, because they've thought about it and made a decision to survive. They would not be sitting here if they didn't. This is not a class of hopers, it is a class of doers. They will not hope for a future for themselves, they will make that future. I challenge the junior class to attain the same. Although I'm not the only one who wishes to offer this challenge, but the senior class as a whole. So we challenge the new senior class, the class of 2012, to believe in itself. We challenge those students to push and succeed, to have optimism, but not to entrust their future with fate, to guide their underclassmen as I believe that this class has, and to use the knowledge they gained here to make a difference in the world around us. To realize that any job is an opportunity, something to be proud of. That no matter where they end up, they know that it was not chance or luck that got them there, but a conscious decision of their own. That the world around us is filled with opportunities, and that their boundaries have only the limits they set themselves, and that their prosperity and happiness is a direct result of their diligent effort in all facets of their life. Thank you.
I reminded this class at practice the other day, this is my first 6-year class. They were here in 7th grade. They were here when Mr. Ron Nimlett was teaching. They were here when Mrs. Cavaretta was alive. They've changed, they've transformed, they've grown, they've had a lot of help. Our staff and faculty is miraculous in their energy, in their compassion, and their talent. Mr. Spencer was right. And we have 4 of the great speeches I've heard at a graduation already, so I'm not going to bore you too much. I am, however, going to give you advice on behalf of Principal Reynolds and me. By the way, me is the proper way to say that. You don't use the reflexive and intensive, just in case anybody out there is ever tempted. So I have 3 pieces of advice. I have 3 grandchildren, and I'm blessed. Almost 4, 2.5, and almost 2. And I'm having a remarkable experience, but I was thinking very carefully last weekend about it's coming to be graduation. I wonder how many of your parents remember when these young adults were 2, when they were 4. It's really remarkable, the growth that we've gone through. And then I started thinking, which is always dangerous for a principal to think on the weekend. Almost always gets me in trouble. And I came up with this. This is advice for all of you. I hope all of you are parents someday. And if you're not, I hope you're an aunt or an uncle. I can't see how we would avoid that. Shower your kids with experiences. Shower your kids with curious objects, with rich words. I grew up in a household. My father was a classical musician. He was a jazz musician. He was a trombone player, par excellence. I didn't know there was any such thing as rock and roll until I was almost in the 7th grade, because his idea of an upbeat tune would be Berlioz' Symphonie Fantastique. My uncle thought I was going to be a great baseball player when I hit a ball 250 feet in 4th grade. He showered me with baseball bats, gloves, baseballs, baseball cards, ad nauseum. However, I was lucky, and nobody would have ever guessed this with me growing up, I brought this as a display of things that parents and grandparents should give to kids. This is As You Like It by William Shakespeare. Now, knowing my crazy grandmother, she probably got it in Rice Krispies boxes in the 30s, wrapped in cellophane. But I have the complete works of William Shakespeare in these little books. Now, who would have ever guessed? When she gave them to me, I was 12. I didn't see them again until I was 24, and they never left my closet. So here comes the second piece of advice. In As You Like It, a Shakespearean comedy, and comedies are basically about the restoration of social structure, about stressing the community, testing the community, and then coming back together. That's what comedies are in Shakespeare. They're not necessarily funny. Believe me, his tragedies are a heck of a lot more funny than his comedies. All right? Hamlet's a hoot. I'm not even going to get into the different jester characters in the tragedies. But what happens is that this group of royalty has gone into exile in the forest. I won't bore you too much, but they're out in the forest, and they're living in the forest, and these people are used to living in castles. And the Duke Senior famously says, "Now my co-mates and brothers in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Here feel we not the penalty of Adam, the season's difference as the icy fang and churlish chiding of the winter's wind, which when it bites and blows upon my body, even till I shrink with cold, I smile and say, this is no flattery. These are counselors that feelingly persuade me for what I am. Sweet are the uses of adversity, which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head, and this our life, exempt from public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. I would not change it." So if I had a real piece of advice to give my seniors, whom I've been with for 6 years, it would be this: sweet are the uses of adversity. Things are going to go bad for you. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have your wrong career moves, bad choices, bad tests in college. You're going to lose your wallets. Or like me, misplace your keys every single day of your adult life. It's not going to be a bowl of cherries. But I think the thing that you should, and we are moving towards as a school, is developing resiliency in our students. The ability to bounce back may be the defining characteristic of successful people. I was lucky enough, now, it's not often that you can quote Dan Gable, the Olympic wrestling champion, and Shakespeare in the same talk. But I was lucky enough my junior year at the Syracuse Leg and Takedown Camp to have Dan Gable as a counselor. He was a nut, by the way. He was climbing oak trees outside our dorm at midnight to get in shape. But he did say, famously, somebody asked him, they said, why are you such a winner? Why have you won so many matches? Why do you have the record you have? He said, the only secret to winning is that you've got to refuse to lose. You have to refuse to lose. Be resilient. Bounce back from anything that goes wrong, and you will be successful. The third piece of advice is to take care of yourselves tonight and tomorrow and in the weeks to come. Our greatest terror is that some harm may befall you because of bad judgment. It is a celebration. We love you. We want you to celebrate, and we want you to be safe. Ladies and gentlemen, I am presenting to you the class of 2011. Please rise and please rise and move your tassels. You are now alumni of Vergennes Union High School.